What's up, guys? Today we got a question from our buddy Diego, who says, at one point he was a couch surfing, lazy, fat bum who didn't want to do anything but watch TV. Then one day, miraculously, an idea struck him. Bing! And he was mobilized with energy and aspiration to move towards a particular goal that he set for himself, and it had been great. For 2 years, he worked with passion and courage towards achieving this particular goal, but at some point, the passion and courage drained out of him, and he could no longer mobilize his vital resources to do the work that was needed in order to achieve his particular goal. In fact, he says he started to even be getting dumber, like I'm getting as I make more videos today. He started getting dumber. He couldn't even put two words together. He wasn't able to do the things that he needed to do to achieve his goal. All right? And he wonders, how is it that I went from a couch potato, had great success, and now it seems like I'm coming full circle? It's frustrating. What do I do about this? Well, I'll keep this lesson short. One thing that you need to know is that nothing in life is linear. Now that goes against everything that education has taught us and everything that is logical and linear. But you gotta understand that the undercurrent of what makes life do what it does is non-linearness. It's not prickly, it's goo. It moves circularly. Life is circles. Life goes like this. It might be going somewhere, it might not be. The whole thing might just be doing this. We got hours and days and weeks and months and years and centuries and epochs, and it just keeps doing this. If you study many different forms of wisdom tradition, including the Hindu tradition, they believe that we've been doing this shit for forever. This is just what we're doing. We're just wiggling around this whole time. But we have a tendency to think that we're going somewhere, we're shooting somewhere, and it's all going to be one straight line. It's bullshit. This tree I'm looking at right now, it would be nice to believe that what I see on the outside with regard to it doing and becoming a tree is completely linear. But that tree is a byproduct of the seasons, because the tree grows in particular ways in particular seasons, and guess what the seasons do? They're annual. They rotate. So it's summertime right now. The tree's doing something totally different right now, and it even looks different than in January when I was looking at the same damn tree. Non-linear. All of life works this way. It's in seasons. The problem arises when we become attached to one season, not realizing that you have to let go of it in order to allow the next season to come through. If you're so attached to summertime and all of its heat and ferocity, and as it starts cooling down and moving towards winter, which is basically what you're moving into right now, you're moving into contraction, but you're holding on to expansion in the summertime, then you're gonna make yourself sick. It's completely a mind fuck. It's the ego doing this thing. Ego gets attached to things that it's built stories about itself around. And you built a really good story about 2 years of being a success, and now that it's time to let that shit go, and you're making yourself even more tired and more sick and more demented. That's why when you say you can't think, it's because you're not allowing yourself to relax into the winter of being whoever you're going to be in the winter. And I promise you one thing, there's a brilliance of the winter version of you, or the contracted version of you. And it's just as brilliant, although very different from the expanded version of you. You see, you have to learn to be in the moment with it. So if you're feeling lazy, it might mean you need to chill the fuck out. It might mean that you need to just relax. It might mean that you don't push yourself, especially energetically and psychologically, to be what you were in the wintertime. In fact, if we keep using the same analogy of the seasons, every year is different than the last year. Summer of 2007 is not the same as summer of 2009 and 2012. 2015 will not be the same type of summer. It will always be different. So you're going to come back as a new mobilized, expanded version of yourself, and you're going to be new and different, but better, I say, because you allowed yourself to rest and you're moving with the flow of life. Life flows. Life doesn't aim. None of this aims and shoots and gets there. It all does this. And we're just doing this thing. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. We're just being. And that's what being does. You can't predict being. You can't pin down being. You just be being, and that's it. See, I use language. See, language is it's such a shame. It's beautiful that we use language because it helps us describe our psychology. It helps us describe the things that are inner realities. But the minute we reduce them to words or symbols, we lose so much, especially when we have a rudimentary language like ours where it's almost like you can't have one without the other, right? So I'm saying this because I often use the term becoming the strongest version of yourself. Well, that's a term that sounds very linear. You're becoming a stronger version of yourself. Really, it's being a stronger version of yourself, because in every moment you have to be the strongest version of yourself to be becoming the strongest version of yourself. Don't get caught up with where you're going and the way it should look like based on what happened last time or yesterday. It's like I'm reiterating myself from a video last week. Be in the moment and find the brilliance in the moment. And wintertime contraction is a beautiful thing for you. This is deja vu. I made this video last week, but I'm just going to reiterate it again here. Watch my videos from literal wintertime. Literal wintertime. Why pick a video from January, right? Where I'm talking slow and I pause a lot. I'm a very contracted version of myself. And I got up every day and I made videos anyway. And I didn't judge them. I didn't say, boy, I'm not as expansive as I was in the summertime last year. I can't compare myself to old versions of myself because that's a useless proposition. It's a useless conversation. Stop comparing versions of yourself with past versions of yourself and be present with the version of yourself that you are right now. And know too, that you're not always in control of the version that's being produced. You play your part by being in the moment, but also God or the universe, Allah, science, whatever you worship, is going to dictate what happens next also. Nature says it's going to be hot. You're going to be an expansive person for the next 2 years like you did previously. Now nature says you need to contract. And if it didn't work this way, we'd explode. Try this. Inhalation and exhalation is the greatest example of how the human being gets himself into the flow of life. That's why all meditation focuses on breathing, because it is the essence of being in the river of life. Breathing. That's why I say breathe into your balls. Folks, get out of the, when you breathe into the wall, into your balls, it means you're getting out of the way of your ability to breathe. Breathe. But now, get attached to inhalation, because inhalation is good. Inhalation is expansion. Inhalation is nourishing. There's a lot of good stuff coming in with inhalation. So let's just love inhalation. You'll explode! It won't work. You gotta exhale. You gotta let down. You gotta let go. You gotta chill out. You gotta allow. You see, inhalation, expansion is a doing. You were doing a lot during those 2 years. The ego loves doing, because doing gives you something to do. And doing is pleasing to yourself and everybody else around you. You just need to do something. Get up and do something. Do something with yourself. The world loves doing. Exhalation is allowing. Exhalation is contentment. What are you, content? See, that's a nasty word in our culture. What, are you just gonna let things happen? Yes, because it is in allowing, it is in contentment that you gain all of the nourishment needed for your next expansion. It would be like if you're having sex with your girlfriend, and boy, hey, the stroking is great, I've expanded, right? My penis is big and expanded, man, and I'm loving this. This is like during your days of working. Man, this is going well. At some point, what do you need to do? Boom! Explode! Let down. Orgasm is let down. You see? You gotta give yourself room to be aggressive and tender. Tender aggression, term I often use. I coined. I should copyright that. I don't give a shit if you guys steal my stuff, as long as it's spreading wisdom. You gotta be tender aggressive, man. So your aggressive time is over. Be a little bit more tender. Let your life be an ejaculation. Done.